Today I got a project with my car. I have a little issue with my air conditioner compressor, and while I'm doing that I'm going to see if it needs a charge. Now this is what I've been using ever since I got the car 4 years ago. It has a synthetic lubricant inside it, and so far it's been working pretty good. Ever since I've gotten the car, usually I have to add a can or two at the beginning of each spring usually. And this year I haven't added any yet, and the air's working pretty good. I just want to top it off. This car has a 3800 in it, and a lot of GM cars up through the mid-2000s use these, a lot of their sedans. And there's the compressor down there. That's what I was having a little issue with. It was making kind of a grating sound because the clutch was dragging on the pulley when it was off. It works fine, it turns on and off fine, but it was just dragging, which I don't know why it's starting to do that. It's done it intermittently since I've gotten the car, but it's been getting worse for whatever reason. And I'll show you what I did to fix that. Sorry, I can't really get a better shot. It's kind of all the way down there. But I'm going to have it on in a second. There's an outside pulley and an inside kind of pulley thing, which has a clutch, and that's the inside part is connected to your compressor. Outside part's connected to the belt. And this metal plate here, you can see this plate, there's a magnet inside it that attracts it, so when it's on it, this plate here moves in and out, and it will grab on to the pulley as it's spinning while the engine is going and you have your air on. You see just the outside of that spinning, your air is not working, but if the whole thing is spinning, that means it is, or at least is trying to. With the air on, you can see the inside and outside is spinning, and with the air off, you can see just the outside with the belt is spinning. Right now you can hear it's really not making any noise, which is good. Because right now the outside part, even though it was off, was touching the spinning part a little and making a grating noise. It sounded pretty terrible. So I'll show you what I did for that in a second. Now the clutch on this is kind of interesting. Got a few different things going on. I can't really show here. There's like a triangle part in the center, it looks like. You can rotate it by hand. What I did was put a small screwdriver in between here, separate it. You don't want to jam it in there because you could damage something with the compressor possibly. I'm just doing that so you can see that it separates. But that moves in and out. And I sprayed some silicone just to see if that did anything, and that didn't really do anything really, so I just tried plan B. Let me try to find it here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like these metal, almost spring type things that attach to the plate and to the center post, which connects to the compressor shaft. What I did is pull on those. I put the screwdriver in. You don't want to wedge it in, you want to just kind of grab onto only the little metal part, and I pulled out on that. So I wasn't like wedging on the part that drives the compressor or jamming something in between the pulley. I wouldn't recommend that because you don't know what you're gonna, you could dislocate some seal or something on the compressor. I'm worried. I wouldn't mess around with trying to hammer something in between the two. That would be kind of screwed up. Now mine wasn't that terrible, so if yours is worse, you need a special tool to adjust. You can adjust it's called air gap, I believe, but you need a special tool for the GM compressors. The different car manufacturers are a little bit simpler, but this is kind of a pain. But that's what I did, is I just pulled on this little spring linkage thing to bend that, so it kind of bent out a little, because see, if I'm pulling on it, you can see that gap is increasing, And since this is a thin metal, pulling on that's not really going to hurt anything, I figured. So I'd rather try that than try to get a tool, and you can see I don't have much room at all, so I tried that. It seemed to work. I'll see. Because I'm actually going on a trip. I'm in the Metro Detroit area in Michigan, and we're going all the way up to Traverse City this weekend, so I don't want to be driving 400 miles, I think the round trip, with that grating on there, because I don't need the clutch to get all sheared and worn out, because like I said, it's working. So that seemed to do the trick as of now. You heard it was on, it wasn't making any grating noises or anything, which is good. Now with this car, what I found kind of interesting is when I bought the car, kind of used it as a negotiating point. I think it has two separate condensers or something with like a kind of like a thermostat, like how your antifreeze goes through your radiator and it adjusts the flow. I think this has some kind of pressure thing between the two condensers or something, because when the refrigerant's getting low, the air only comes out cold out of the passenger side, and the driver's side just blows your normal vent air. So humid, semi-warm air comes out of here, and cold, chilled air only comes out of there when the refrigerant's low. So I think there's some kind of like valve that is pressure, like has a pressure spring, and I think there's two separate ones. So that's what's nice with this car. I know when I need to add some refrigerant, because I won't get air out of here, but I'll get air out of those. So when that happens, I just turn these vents closed and just use that if I need to. But since I've been using that refrigerant, it has a little bit of a stop leak. I haven't had to add anything this year. It's been less and less every year I've been adding some, so I recommend it because it seems to work. And the air conditioner, you have your high and low pressure sides right there. Now, if you don't know anything about how air conditioning actually works, like the theory or anything about what's going on with it, I would say take your car in, because if you put it on the wrong side, you can have the thing explode in your hand and give you frostbite, and you go blind or something, which wouldn't be good. And they're not really labeled. The way to tell is if your air does work somewhat, you feel the sides of the tubes that the little caps are on. The cold side is going to be your low pressure side, and that's where you're going to charge it with the DIY kit. Now, the air conditioning has to be on, because when it's on, this side is the part the compressor is sucking the air out of, and this is where it's actually compressing the air. I mean the refrigerant. When the car is off, they equalize, and they're both a higher pressure than you're supposed to have when you're charging it. So it has to be on, and then you charge it in here on the low pressure side. The actual fitting is a quick connect fitting, but you want to find out your temperature that it is, and 70 is the temperature. So you set it to that, start the car up, turn your air conditioner button on, and have the cap. I recommend wearing gloves, and I'm doing this without it on, it's easier to explain. You put your quick connect on here, just snaps right on, obviously with the cap off of that, and then turn the knob all the way in. That pierces your little seal, which I have a new can I'm going to be using. Then you have it upside down and unscrew it all the way while you're watching this valve. And you want to be tipping it upside down. Just want to go shake it upside down, upside down, upside down, and watch your pressure. If it goes intermittently into the red, that's fine, but close the valve and see where it sits while it's running. You want it to be right around in this zone, usually is pretty good. My car needs usually a little higher than that, so I put a little bit more to get both sides of my air conditioning working. I usually do it just until they both start working, because you can leave the can attached and turn it off and it stays in here, and just put something over this so it doesn't get any dirt in it. But it's relatively simple, but you need to be careful. You don't want to overcharge it, because that can actually cause damage too. And you don't want to do it while the compressor is off, otherwise you can cause problems that way too. But all in all, it's not that hard to do, and just wear gloves, wear eye safety, and follow the directions. That's pretty much what I just told you, and usually works pretty good if